Fire away, Juan.
Okay.
You said you wanted to ask some questions.
Yes. I was working in. Oh, so let me show you. Yesterday, when we tried to do this without me, my computer always crashed when I try to show the simulator, but that's something that I'm working on. Uh, I'm trying to understand the the GPS part of the simulator. Uh, and are you seeing my desktop?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. So I understand that I put in the odom to la pi my coordinates to try to customize the GPS ubication of in the simulator, but I'm not sure why there is no info about the height. The height. I only have latitude and longitude, but I don't have height. It's that okay, or I am missing something?
No. So we're using stage. So that's the difference between a 2D and 3D. So right now we're just planning in 2D and our simulator is 2D.
Okay,
Stage,
okay. So
yeah,
the simulator is only 2D. We
it's
don't have
2.5, but we're not planning in 3D space.
okay. I wasn't sure if I was having some kind of error or something missing. So that was what I wanted to ask. I'm trying to get the documentation about this. Uh, I'm the same error that I tell you yesterday. I do my documentation in Spanish and I will try to solve this, but I think that I have to come out with something more usable than for having two languages than GitHub, because GitHub is very limited to add languages. And I think that Ross used Moin, a Python wiki.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not sure if uh, the reasonable thing is to go with the same infrastructure that Ross have, is work with Moin, but I'm not sure if that is the best approach to get the documentation or put the documentation. But maybe I'm wrong.
Why?
Um,
Are what is the downside from just using Spanish?
uh, because one of the things that, of using only Spanish is that I cannot share my documentation with the rosagriculture community that speak English. Um, I think that that's a big limitation. Uh,
So, um, Google Translate, if you go with like Google Chrome, it will just automatically translate. It'll automatically detect the language and then translate to whatever
yes,
language you want.
yes, but that was what I was trying to explain yesterday. That's not my problem. My problem is to get a structure of the documentation that is feasible to use the two languages and show it the same page in the two languages. I
Yeah,
don't have
but
problem translating it.
so generally, I believe in like emergent. There's some feedback on your system, Juan. So either have to turn down your speakers or put on headsets.
Okay.
What happens is the speaker comes out and then goes into your microphone, and then we get like a little loop back.
Uh,
Mhm.
You just mute your mic when you're not talking.
True, that also works.
But you have to remember to unmute when you want to talk.
Well,
So Juan, in summary, I think, did Matt answer your question? I mean, he was saying it's not necessarily a 3D model, it's a 2.5D model. So you don't have to add an altitude parameter in that ODOM to LLA Python script.
Oh, I get some headphones. Do you listen me better?
You're really
Yes.
faint, or at least it's faint on my end.
Okay, it's okay now. My audio.
You're not getting the feedback.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
So, Juan, you see this? This is all Spanish right here, right?
Yes.
So I just click English, and look at that, English.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there are
yes.
systems that allow language packs where you can switch based on location, but I'm sort of a believer in like emergent architecture. So if you're designing something, just get it down. Like, don't worry about making a very big database and all of the tables. If you have to start with a flat file. Just write it to a text file. So if you just write
Okay.
it in Spanish, no big deal. Like I use Translate. There's a lot of great videos in technology in German and French, and so it's pretty common. But if you
Okay,
write it in
okay.
Spanish to start, then that gives us a place to add to it.
Okay. Okay. But if you can see all, if you can see, I got in the wiki of my project. I got it's basically the all the process of installation of the lawn tractor. I have a lot of blind spots that is what I'm working in to achieve, and now I'm trying to work a lot in the simulator documentation on the process of working with the simulator. Not because I will solve something about the simulator, but it's a guide to work in the simulator from a new point of view.
Awesome.
That was the thing that I was working the last week, because when I was working with the spreadsheet, I began thinking that we also have different configurations in the simulator, and we have to come out with something that we can compare us in the simulator too. And as I have the good experience of working in the simulator and bring what I have in the simulator to the tractor with the command bell sentences, I will try to do the same with the tractor with the GPS navigation. So first I will try to solve this in the simulator, and then I will try to 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 bring it to the tractor. One of the things that I was trying to come out in my head was the GPS coordinates that I will use to do a navigation. So today I was working in trying to document that, and try with having my Google Maps image, satellite image, to try to mark the points where I will do the simulated trip, for saying something. So I come out with this because one of the things that I began thinking was, where in the world is the tractor looking? The tractor is looking to the west, to the north, to the east, to the south. So that was why I come up with this beautiful design that to show where the tractor is pointing, because in that way I will find out the coordinates when I work with um, the Google Maps here.
In RViz, you can add a topic called axis. and that will put your east-north in RViz. I find that actually helpful because I have a hard time figuring out which direction's which.
Topic with access like A.
XIS or AXES.
Yes, but the topic it's well. Let me. Well, so I come out that I am here. I don't see. I don't know if you are seeing. Oh, I'm here.
Yep.
No, and I will try to do this and come here again.
Yep. Al, how did you get your map into RViz like that?
How? No. This map is not in Arvis. I'm using the
Google.
the Google Map, but I think that I can do that.
Al brought his map into RViz so he can see where the robot is in relation to his house. And
okay.
The answer is I don't remember. Let me see if I wrote my instructions down. Hold on.
But I will. I think that that's something that I can achieve, or take a better resolution image with the drone of my cousin, because sometimes this Google Map doesn't have the good resolution. Okay. Well, I think that I don't have anything more to share. That's the way where I am.
It's not like me to not write it down, so now I just need to find it. One, I'll look for it and send it to you. Basically, what I went into is in Google Maps. I did a screen print effectively, and at the same time copied in a, there's a measuring tool inside of Google Maps, and made sure that that was on when I took a screen print. And then I pulled that into a image tool and trimmed that. And then I knew how many pixels it was. And then once you know how many pixels it is, you create that file. Once you know how many pixels it is, then you set that as an attribute in the YAML, the farm YAML file. And RViz sets your resolution correctly. It wasn't too hard, actually, once you've sort of unlocked the key. Anyway, Lon, you had the floor. Anything else you wanted to share? Juan, do we still have you? You look a little frozen. You look a lot frozen.
Maybe he'll come back in a bit.
Anybody else want to share what's going on with them? Questions? Dubitas? Jonathan, how you been?
Terrible. I got some kind of pretty serious infection in my knee. So I spent 10 days in bed. Lots of
Good
pain.
grief.
Lost some weight. So yeah, I haven't done anything other than that. Oh, but I do have some news, which is that you know my event with the Landworks Alliance.
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So I'll. Oh, Jeff and Doug. The Land Workers Alliance is like a labour union for peasant farmers, and some of them are really against robots, and some of them are really into robots. So I agreed to sort of facilitate a conversation about whether or not robots were a good idea for market gardens and yeah, regenerative graziers. Would you be interested in coming? It will be a 1 hour Zoom between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Posted on Slack.
Tomorrow.
Or...
Is
Sorry?
that what time
it's
zone
Slack.
is that 2 p.m.?
Oh, UK GMT. So, what's it when you? I think I'm. Oh, well, yeah. When you were midday, I was 5 o'clock. So, 2, 1, 12, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Post,
If you want to be safe, just look up
Share a
TMT.
link.
Yeah, I'll hunt the link down and send it to you after this. Anyway, I'll send you a link to the site. Yeah, so that's it. I didn't do any work on anything.
Well, we're glad you're back. We're sorry to hear you had a health scare like that. Didn't look like you had 10 pounds to lose to me.
I don't think I think I might have lost 5 pounds or 6. Maybe for about 4 days though.
Yeah, a little bout with anemia a couple months back. I didn't have like a blood thing. Anyways, you know, my blood supply back up. I found I gained about 15, 20 pounds. The waist size went from 34 to 38.
Your audio is not
Anybody
working.
else had trouble? I had trouble hearing that.
You
Yeah,
might
too
want-
far away from the mic. When I had that bout of anemia a couple months back, ever since I got out of the hospital, I found I put on like 15, 20 pounds and went from waist size 34 to 38 inches. Can't fit in my overalls anymore.
I'm a 38. Hi.
Yeah, Black Friday sale. I don't know if they have them down there, but I bought some 38-inch pants.
Jonathan, anything else anything else you want to mention?
No, that's all my news.
Matt, anything to share today?
more fun learning ROS.
Jeff, anything to share?
I don't think so.
Doug, how about with you? Anything going on?
I picked up this Oculus VR headset Black Friday last Friday. And got cameras built into it so you can see, and so I was going programming for that. And implementation for some kind of robotized things I could do with that. Had some good, I got some desktop software, so I got to put my computer screen right in the visor from my computer. And work right like that and have a huge screen, bigger than my previous one. That's been kind of fun playing around with that. That's pretty much what I've been doing. This ESP32 thing I was playing with, S2 variety, and it's just not the Arduino implement support for that, and the Arduino RDE isn't what I had hoped, and so I think I might switch microcontrollers again. And that's kind of what I've been playing around with.
What is it? How do you program that thing?
The visor?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so what I use, what I have used for years is Unity. It's free to download to use game development software, and I haven't really done much game development for a couple of years now, although I still have friends that are active in that community. They had like a VR subgroup here in the cities, the Twin Cities. And so Unity basically an IDE for creating games and 3D simulations. If I could bring in the video through that and the web view for controls, that I could control a robot through it. The resolution on this one is a lot better than the previous versions. So previous versions, the resolution was pretty poor and you couldn't really read text or anything, especially if you brought in like a web page or anything to read something or something like that. But this one has good enough resolution where you can do that finally. This is the Oculus Quest 2 it's called. It just was released in October, I think.
Cool.
So that's what I've been playing around with. Did I get? Oh no.
There was Juan had a question about networking out of the lawn tractor simulator, and I've been using multiple Docker containers and multiple computers, and I'm able to, run ROS, and they all talk to each other. I was wondering if anybody had a problem with that, or is everybody okay with how do you get two computers to talk to each other, or your host computer in a Docker container?
My honest answer is I haven't tried the whole Docker container thing, and working with Juan last night, it looked pretty interesting to me. So I was going to take time to install Docker and try to get the simulator to work. So it looked like an awesome way to try to get the simulator up and running quickly. and I wanted to try to get it to work. So I haven't had any problems.
Okay.
I don't know, Juan, what was the issue with getting the network to work?
No, the thing was that in the original Docker image or the Docker container, sometimes I miss containers and image. There was
A little bit
some,
louder, Juan, and you're a little faint.
yes, that in the here in the original Docker image and container, you don't have a network interface load in deploying that image. I think that I have to add it, and I have certain concern about if there was a problem to add it and why that was missing. And that was why I asked the question, because I was trying to one of the things that I have in my checkup list of things that I want to do with the simulator is to try to use the Android phone interface in the simulator as you use the joystick. I will try to use it for the simulator and try to get information through the different instance in the Android and different computers and the topics and all the things, because I think that one of the problems that I have was trying to make that the information go through the different part of ROS, mainly because I think it was my fault in having shitty configurations in the different part of the system.
Okay.
So Matt, is that your understanding that, I mean, I don't know quite what it means to say you don't have a network deployed in that container. Is that your thinking? You
No,
don't have a,
because the thing that you in Docker you can create virtual network interfaces in every container. Maybe you have a container and you can put in that container 2 or 4 virtual network interfaces. So but you have to add them. It's in all virtualizations. It's the same. When you use VMware and all that kind of things, you have to assign to that virtualization a network interface. I'm not the most. I don't know so much about this, but I always touch and I get the interface working.
That sounds like a good addition to be fun to test. That's a great test to get your Android joystick working through the simulator.
Yes, because I want to concentrate on, I don't know how to say, but I want to achieve to achieve moving information between the ROS system. And I think that the last time we were talking with Al about the ROS param and reassign topics and notes and all that kind of things. I think that that's something that I have to do. And the other thing is to try to build my own package, little packages, and run nodes. That's something that is important that I have to achieve. Today, when I was trying to, when I was talking with Al, I don't understand pretty good how Slack work, and sometimes I think that I send a message only to Al or to you, and I send it to the community. That's something that annoys me. I hate.
So as somebody who hasn't done this yet, if I'm just trying to get Docker installed and fire up the simulator in Docker, it's
Yes, I'm not sure what I will tell you. Maybe a chef can explain it better. But when you use Docker in Windows, you have to get the Ubuntu virtualization in Windows, because you cannot use a Docker image of Windows in Ubuntu, and you cannot use a Windows Docker image in Ubuntu. You have to use the same type of OS that you use that you have to virtualize that image. Only in Windows you can virtualize Linux, because you can use the Ubuntu virtualization that Microsoft puts in Windows, that I cannot remember the name. Is that okay, what I'm saying?
but assume I'm using Ubuntu. Does anybody think that these instructions need updating, or are these instructions solid?
They do need updating. Do you have Docker installed?
No, but right here is, I do not, to answer your question.
Okay, so that the get start file changed. It's not ROS lawn tractor, it's just lawn tractor.
Okay.
We're right there. There's an edit. That's wrong. There's a name change.
Juan, were you using PowerShell in Windows to do Linux?
What?
Was it called PowerShell?
No, it's not PowerShell. It's the Matt. How it's the Ubuntu. You install Ubuntu inside Windows with a special. It's a package from Microsoft to install. I think this Linux shell. I don't remember quite good the name.
But I think you mentioned here, I think you put in here the new,
Here, I will post the link. I put it in the chat, the link.
okay.
You have to do this, and then you have to
I was thinking you put it up here. Yeah, that's the new one, right, Matt?
Yeah, and I also updated the wiki now, so it has the right link.
Oh, that was fast.
So once you get Docker installed, it's like 3 lines. Basically, you get that start file, and then you run the start file. The start file will go out to Docker Hub, download the Docker image, and then run it for you.
And Juan and I were looking at this last night. These two Python scripts, I mean, you effectively just need to launch these things at the same time, right?
Yeah, you can. You don't have to be like exactly the same time, but yeah, you just launch the publish path and then the drive path.
does that take a ROS run statement, or can it just be a Python execute?
Either, but a Python execute will work.
I was having some problems with. I thought that I had to build a package for that because I have problems with the missing messages.
I mean, it would be, this is kind of the progression again, kind of just hack the code out, get it down somewhere. And then like the next phase is to come through, clean it up. And then eventually, if we could get that into a ROS package and make it easier for people to use.
Yes,
But
yes.
only if people use it, like the reason why emergent design is kind of nice is because if more people use it, then it gets more attention. But if nobody uses it, then you don't have to waste all your time of fully developing it out.
Yes, I understand that. But maybe one of the things that I was in my list of goals, I have to put this behind to try to achieve the other things.
And it's probably worth taking a minute or two just to look at, I mean, I'm in Rosag Lawn Tractor in GitHub. It looks like a lot of, posting going on here in the last couple of weeks, if you will, which is pretty cool. So just for everybody's benefit, looks like Vinny and Juan had put a few things out here. So this, and I'm just getting familiar with using the tool in this way. So others, you guys might be all experts at this, but so it looks like Juan's put this question out here about the network interface. Vinny's got some, and Matt have got some interaction going on out here about this move base flex action server and this canceling the action activity, the recovery, rotate recovery behavior not sufficient. I'm less familiar with these two. I'm not sure, Matt, if you're up to speed on what this is all about.
So we kind of have a couple different versions. This one is using the old Smash and state machines. The latest version, Vinny upgraded us to behavior trees. So we could still have the same problem of the rotate recovery doesn't work. We need a recovery method for an Ackerman vehicle, whether that's just backing up or, doing different, because we can't spin in place,
And I'm noticing that was June. That's actually been there a while. So those were June, 6 days ago, 4 days ago. Juan just put that out a couple hours ago. Help wanted.
Matt,
Yep. Jump on there.
is there a tutorial about how to add that you can point to me how to add things to the simulator, to the sim?
Yeah. What does that mean?
If I want to add another 3D model to the sim, where I have to see the documentation about that. It's only about Airbus.
Yeah. So I really recommend. Just depends. With this one. So you're talking about things like that, like the robot description.
Yes, yes. Or you recommend me not going that path to touch that.
No, you got it. I mean, understanding that is all part of it. It's again, I can't recommend the ROS tutorials enough, and then this URDF tutorial. I mean, even if you just read through it, like if you don't have time to like fully go through it, just becoming familiar with the language, becoming familiar with the vocabulary, and then just kind of in your mind, kind of earmark like, oh, this tutorial is talking about this tutorial is talking about that. And so if you get stuck, or if you have a question, you know, you can come back to that specific tutorial and then go through it. But they're super helpful. But for me, I only get motivated to go through a tutorial if I'm stuck on something and want to get that work done. So then I go back and go through those tutorials and then do that work. And then if I get stuck again, I go through another tutorial.
And if anyone ever finds
Okay.
one on an Ackerman, a simple Ackerman vehicle, please send it to me. I can't find one.
What do you mean? Again, a URDF model or like?
I found a number of URDF model videos and tutorials on, you know, robots, typically four-wheel deals or arms, track steering on the four-wheel devices. I haven't stumbled across one that's got Ackerman steering yet. It would just be interesting to see how they approach that. Have you, that you can recall?
Yeah, Nicholas Lampert made a really nice one, pretty clean one. There are a number of out there to choose from. They're all kind of based around a similar starting point, but
Who did you say?
let me look it up here. I didn't find Nicholas's, but this is the basic one that people use. So you can go through that and see how that URDF is put together, and then see how that controller works. ROS control. ROS control is really cool too. This one uses ROS control, so you'll want to go through those tutorials and understand how that works. ROS has some really cool tools for control. If you use ROS control, built-in PID, and then easy tuning through dynamic reconfigure. So you just pull up RQT, you can see your goal, you can see how you're tracking, and then you can adjust the parameters. So let's see if I can find a better one. That one's pretty much the standard. A lot of people use that.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Well, any more? Jeff, Doug, Jonathan?
I would like to hear about Matt's drone that he has. I always see these videos where people are flying over, taking pictures of things on the ground. Is it, with what you have, is it possible to do that or easy to do that?
Yeah, it's insanely easy.
You can tell it to point at, say, track your vehicle, or how do you tell it what to take pictures of?
Okay, I don't know all of that stuff. I'm still learning how to control it. So obviously there's different controllers, you know, like Mabros and Q ground control and drone deploy and all of that. I'm just very basic, but to answer your question, in the ROS driver for the Tello, there's like services, and so you can send a message saying take a picture, you know, but how do you get it to drive to that specific location or fly to that specific location? There's different programs to do that. I've been going through a tutorial on the Construct on how to fly drones, and it's pretty good how to program drones with ROS. And it's pretty neat. They use how to start programming drones with ROS.
I was going to go back and watch that Roscon thing on the drones, but I haven't done that yet. That might explain quite a bit of it. Or if you have one that's not ROS based, just a remote control one, has anybody ever played with that and tried to take pictures of stuff on the ground? So I've never touched one, so I don't know.
The thing that blew me away, which I didn't know from this class, is like, in my mind, I thought you have to send it like command velocity commands. And so like you have to like fly this thing based on effort. And I was like, wow, that's gotta be, I mean, you definitely can fly at that mode, but it has an RC mode where you give it X, Y, yaw and height, and then it will fly to that location in your map. And I thought that's super useful, right? I mean, I don't want to try. I'm a terrible pilot with these things. I don't know how that, I don't get it. My brain doesn't work that way, but I can give it a coordinate and it will fly. It will do that, all that work itself to get itself to that spot. It's pretty cool. Right now I'm trying to learn how to plan in 3D space.
Mission planner, I mean, there was, I guess you would consider it to be an open source package called Mission Planner. Well, it was in the Windows environment. Maybe somebody has ported it to the Linux environment. There was another competitor of it for DIY drones. I'm wondering if anybody is.
That's old school, but they're still using it.
I know but I'm just wondering if somebody has They missed, so I'm assuming then they give you a planner then, don't they? To plan in 3D?
I don't know. That's I don't know. I'm using an Octomap, which is sort of like a 3D cost map. So it's not just open space planning, but it's in and around things.
In a constrained environment or in a GPS environment with a map as your guide?
Okay.
And do you have to build the world, or are you trying to map in the known GPS physical world?
I'll show you what I'm trying to do. How do I? This is one test. Okay, you see that tree out there?
Mm-hmm.
I can fly underneath that, between the canopy and the ground. The deer keep that pruned, but I want to fly the drone around the base and have it look at the base of that tree. So I'm just going to fly out. That's my launch pad right there out the window. So it's going to launch from there, and then it's going to fly in underneath. So it can't go above because it'll get caught in the branches. Can't go down, hit the ground, and I don't want it to hit the tree base. So I have to plan. I have to make a map with all of that obstacle, the tree obstacle, the base tree obstacle, and the ground is slanted. So the drone has to fly out, go down, and tuck underneath the tree, hook around the base of the tree in a non-flat, thing, and then come back and then land here. I'm thinking about putting like a fiducial marker for the helipad to have it drop down on, but that's the goal. But yes, you have to make a map. You have to make all of the obstacles. You have to do all of the planning.
You have to create your world first.
Yes, and with localization, there's different message types or messages. One message is a GPS, but I generally convert that into local coordinates to fly around. I love sending in GPS coordinates. GPS coordinates are great, but like, let's say that you want to move 25 centimeters to the left. Like, I fly the drone out and I say, hey, you know what? It's a little too close to that base. I want it to go 25 centimeters out. Well, with a GPS coordinate system, how do you tell it to go like X 25 centimeters? Yes, you have to, convert that back into some GPS coordinates. And then the decimals. The other thing that's weird about decimals is like, you got to go out 8 decimal places on a GPS string to get the resolution, whereas if you're just using meters, yes, you can use UTM, but I just use local coordinates. And if I want to nudge it 10 centimeters, I just nudge it.
To model the real world, is Blender a choice?
I don't know. I don't know how that would fit. You have to get a point cloud, a 3D point cloud, so a sensor that will give you 3-dimensional locations of things. And then you have to have localization. Some people use SLAM for that, monocular camera and SLAM, or a depth camera, SLAM, and then you can build your 3D obstacle map out of that.
So you want to create a point cloud with a sensor to create your model of real world.
Mm-hmm. So then Ross can plan underneath the tree. It'll say that's a safe place to fly, but going up is not a safe place to fly. Down is not a safe place to fly. Don't you think that would be cool?
I think that'd be awesome. Reminds me of the ClearPath Robotics did that competition thing with going underground and creating the map of the mine. They went underground and created the map in real time. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hurts my head. Jeff, you were asking questions and I butted in. Back to you.
I was just curious because I watch everybody's videos. They'll show their tractor driving across the field, but then they have an aerial view of the thing flying over, making movies of it. And I just wondered, how hard is it to do that? And
I think DJI has all that built in, like the follow me mode and the to fly around a point. Like if you want to do that type of stuff, it's all built in.
Who has that?
DJI is the drone manufacturer. They probably have 70-80% of the market share.
Are those quite expensive?
This one's $100. It's good for testing. Obviously it's not gonna like strong winds will blow this thing down. It's it's super light. The flight time is low, but I can still do everything I want to do with it. Connects into ROS, has a camera, has odometry. It can do tricks. It can do flips. You just send it a command like like a service command, do a flip, and it'll do a flip. Send it a service command and it will take off and land, does all that automatically.
Another world. Jeff, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
See you tomorrow morning.
Great.